Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. Today, Tuesday, January 19th. Lots to talk about this morning coming off the big three-day weekend. We have the inauguration tomorrow. We have Janet Yellen testimony today talking about how much we need the stimulus package to be approved. So that pretty much, in my mind, secures the stimulus package that President-elect Biden is looking for. We also had some big bank earnings this morning from Bank of America and Goldman Sachs that we'll talk about. But our topic today is there's a big direct listing coming up in Roblox, which is a gaming company. And if you remember, we participated, in the direct listing of both Palantir and the software company Asana. And for both of those, that's what we want to talk about this morning. So that's what we've got for today's show. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get information on when this is released on replay. And if you want to join us live, a great way to invest in yourself is $25 a month. With that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone, and thanks for joining in. Make sure you have your chat window set up and your Q&A window set up as well. And you should see the long and shorts we're going to take a look at in the chat window already populated there. And mostly, if you looked already, the market's kind of up big this morning. So if it continues on the way up, then, of course, we're only going to look at the longs that are out there today. And there's actually a ton of them, but those are the, four that I put in there that are of interest to us today. All right, standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. So you have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear in this presentation. All right, our mission and objective is grow our money, protect our money, live off our money. Today, we're going to talk about growing our money with the big Roblox direct listing that's coming up. I don't have a date for that yet, but it is coming up soon, and I do plan on moving in it pretty big to tune of 6+ digits for several folks. So we want to go back and revisit the PLTR and Asana, ASAN direct listings. So you can see the chart on those, and we'll talk about what happened. And that's kind of what I expect to happen this time with Roblox. Again, it will be initiating positions for a long-term hold, but we'll commit some capital to it and then monitor it from there. Secondly, for our question today, we're going to talk about IRA maximums. Again, you can Google these and find them real quick, but a lot of people like to ask me, so we talk about it all the time, and there's a couple of different strategies for setting those up. All right, our flow today will be market review. We'll be long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review, headline review, then we'll talk about PLTR and ASAN. And then we'll get in our short-term execution, again, with those that are in the chat. We'll execute the market open like we always do and transition to Q&A for question of the day. The trade from Friday, I haven't posted it yet. I took a little time for myself this weekend, but I will post it today. That Wells Fargo trade right after we're off air, it was like 2 minutes off air. The thing dropped like a rock. So the trade worked great. You'd have been out of the trade at about the 17-minute point. And again, for 3+ hours, it went down past 4 actually. But I would recommend being out at 3, of course. So for contingencies, if you have any issues, contact me at steve@ototnow.com. And if you don't know what we're talking about, for the new folks in the room, for our units and stuff, go to my academic resources at ototnow.com as well. All right, let's go ahead and start like we always do by taking a look at the long-term S&P 500. Again, this is a 9-month chart. The reason we take a look at this is, again, to keep grounded. So because that way, when there's days like Friday and Thursday, you can see that they're in the red there, that all part of motion of the ocean. You don't get all wrapped around the axle because the market went down on Friday. It's honestly just not a big deal. It is all part of it. So that's how you can keep things in perspective. Now, obviously, if it starts doing that every day, then you want to take some action. But, a little uncertainty going into the inauguration tomorrow. I think, with 25,000 troops at an inauguration, we should be fine. Again, if anyone is seriously concerned about violence, they would cancel it and have it from the National Military Control Center in the basement, which is what you would do if you were concerned about violence. So I think the 25,000 troops is a little more of a political stunt than anything else. I'm not concerned. And remember last time when we had January 6th, we had idiots in the White House with their water buffalo hats on. Market literally said, don't care what the idiots are doing. We zoom in a little bit here on the 5-day. Again, this was Thursday, so flat going into Thursday. Thursday sold off kind of hard. And then Friday kind of didn't know where we wanted to be. It went down and then climbed all the way back and then started dropping. That just shows you a market doesn't know where it wants to be. And we're up this morning. So where are we? We're back in where we were last week. So again, overall, nothing to really take from this. Okay, here's our day trading charts that we have set up. Again, SPY, SPACE, ETM, and BLDP we all have set up for when we're ready to go for the day trading. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some headlines. Here we are for the Dow futures. Let me refresh these real quick. All right, 0.68 points, basically 0.7 across the board. That works. Europe is in the green. Asia is in the green, except for China's about 1% in the red. No big deal there. Here's our numbers from Friday. So if you look again, we saw this chart-wise. We also see it here, numbers-wise, that we've already outgained so far what we lost on Friday. So again, no big deal there. And the volatility is down instead of up. Normally you'd see red numbers, the volatility would be increasing. It's not, it's decreasing. So I think everybody's going to ease on into the transition to the new government fairly smoothly. And you see the headline here, Yellen Senate confirmation hearing coming up. Again, her talking about stimulus also kind of calms the markets as well. Okay, 10-year up slightly, oil up slightly, gold and silver up slightly, and then Bitcoin up slightly as well. 37,000 on the Bitcoin watch. Okay, back to the headline review. Goldman Sachs had a nice earnings beat this morning, so that helps things. So did Bank of America, and Bank of America is doing a bunch of buybacks as well, which also helps. I remember I like JP. We talked about banks Friday. I like JP Morgan a little better than both of these, but it helps the bank sector significantly. All right, there's Bank of America. Let's see. Office Depot and Staples, they've been going back. I think this is like takeover try number 4. They should combine, so they would be both a better company, but they can't agree to terms. So that's kind of funny. This is a Japanese automaker. We generally talk about the Chinese automakers, NIO, Li, XPeng, all of that stuff. We don't really talk about the Japanese automakers, but they are out there. I think they're a little bit behind, in my opinion. But JAPA, GAPA, is actually a company that makes EVs. Buy Nike on any pullback. I don't know about that. Facebook got a upgrade this morning. If you're a Facebook investor, you're going to have to ride the roller coaster. There are all kinds of scrutiny from the Democratic administration. I personally think they'll come out fine. However, you have the far right that hates them, that's leaving. You have the Dems that think they have too much control over our data. And then but it's still the best way to advertise. So hard to beat Facebook as far as putting your money to work. All right, let's take a look real quick, switching to our topic of the day of Palantir. So this is again, it was a direct listing and it came out. And if you followed along, I actually did a premiere on YouTube. So I had chat going real time and everything. It's kind of cool. I'll do that again with Roblox and I'll advertise it this time. I was just getting literally randos from the internet that were chiming in, which is kind of fun kind of not fun because I didn't know who they were. But when you think of, I will premiere it, so we don't know when it's going to open. So you have to you have to wait for it to open, and then you premiere, and then you can sit there and chat live while you're watching the stock. So that's kind of cool. But if you remember, Palantir opened, I said I would buy at any price up to 20, which I don't think I've ever said that about anything else where I'm willing to pay double out of the get-go. It opened at 10. Every single client I had, including myself, was filled at 10. Which, remember, if you have, like, say you have $10,000 ready to go and you have a limit order for 20 in, well, then you get, what is that, 500 shares, but that only consumes half your money. So I had to go around and turn around and buy the rest of that at $10. And actually, if you remember, it took off higher. So I ended up getting my secondary buy at around 11 or so. But then it started moving down. So you had to go all the way up to what, 1152, which I think actually was probably a buyer there. And then it went down into the red for a couple of days. So again, you can look dumb sometimes. For a couple of weeks, it stayed in the red, and then really people finally discovered it, and then off it went. Well, if you can load up on a stock like this at this price, let me look at that. You had all day. You had all day for 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get in on this, and then boom, it rips up higher to 30. Has it settled in since there? Yes, it's just kind of finding its way. I do think it probably makes new highs, to be honest. It'll be above 30 by summer, I think, by the time people really get their minds around what it's doing. So that's Palantir. Let's take a look at the other one that came out the same day, which is Asana, to spell it correctly, which is a software firm. Not as exciting. It was a 25. I don't see a tick there, but I thought it was a $25 direct listing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 30. But anyhow, so look at the House of Pain for basically a month and a half. If you were an Asana stockholder, you were wrong, right? So we had to go all the way through until there was an earnings release. And then when earnings came out, then it jumped higher. I think this is why you pay attention 101 and don't have a direct listing the same day as Palantir, because Palantir kind of is a little sexier than you are. So let's move yourself a week later, right? So you're not competing directly. So I think all of the fancy software data is the new oil money went into Palantir, and this bad boy sold off. I gave up on it in here largely, and then it screamed higher. So I have a little bit of it, and it's been on fire lately. I think this is pretty optimistic up here at 38, so I wouldn't be a buyer. But that's what we're hoping for out of a Roblox, is something more along the lines of the Palantir, of where we get it right at our opening price. It'll probably be a little overpriced in my opinion. And it's not like Palantir was kind of I would pay double. I won't pay double for Roblox, but we'll set a price range that we're happy with, and we'll load up. And again, it's one of those sit back and wait once we have it. So that's what we have going on for our long-term topic of the day. And again, I do not have a date for Roblox yet. If you see anything, put it in the chat, and we'll go from there. All right, switching over to, saw somebody pop in here. So here's our long and shorts of the day. Let's go and take a look over at Schwab. And I will show you the longs first. There's risk in all of these. So space, SPCE. So this is Virgin Galactic Holdings, and it's not showing a headline here, but here's exactly what's going on. There are the ARK funds, ARK. They've been on fire. There are a bunch of index funds with some really aggressive investments, and I tell you that they have not missed. There's an ARK-Q, there's an ARK-K. Well, there's about to be an ARK-X, which is a space ETF that's coming out. There's already space ETFs, but this one is getting a lot of press ahead of time. So once it releases, it's going to snap up things like Virgin Galactic Holdings. That's why it's at 30. It's gapping up to 32, 27, and it's got room to go higher. Plenty of volume. So you're on more of a hope and a prayer here if you take space long. Another one that we're going to take a look at is ETM, which got an upgrade to overweight. ETM. Intercom Communications, a simple upgrade. So it is at 335. If you want a smaller price point where you can load up, Again, going long 335 up to 362, setting new highs. This thing is, when these things get closer, you see something like this, they tend to run up directly to $5. I'm not saying today, but it continued to run up over time. So all the way up to 362 right now. So this is a higher risk long if you want to take it, but you can get in with a nice, 5, 6, 7 cent stop and load up on a crap ton of this and take it higher if you'd like. And the BLDP, also on an upgrade, it's Ballard Power Systems. So simple upgrades, taking it to, it's in here somewhere. It's I've written down 8% higher pre-market, plenty of volume, 30.8 up to 33.62, and it was just up at 38. So again, a lot of room to run higher there. And then the last one we have for you long is SSP Scripps EW. Berkshire Hathaway basically bought like 10% of this and snapped it up. So it's in play because of that. So 1484 to 16, and then obviously went up to 1750 pre-market. So not as excited about that one, and lower volume. So actually, let's get rid of SSP. I don't like that move down already. Okay, on the short side, you can take a look at NOV. They missed earnings. So you can see the Q4 revenues below consensus. Does have the 100,000 volume. It was up here at 1475. It's down here at 1366. So it does have room to drop a lot lower. So that's the number one short out there. Then you have LITE is another one there. So we got to switch over to 20 seconds to the market open. So let's switch back to our longs. Again, looking at 3 longs here first. All right, get rid of me. All right, welcome everybody to the on time on target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you, and we're going to take longs today. Here's the market open. Have a 1 minute on the SPY. The futures are up big. You can see 0.75 there. We have space is up 5%. ETM not open yet, so we'll keep an eye on that there. It just popped open, jumping up 13%. And then you also have, look at space selling off, some profit taking there. And you also have BLDP. So I do like space long. This is a heck of a move down, but this could be profit taking. Let me get out here. So it's still up, still at that 5%. Let's look at it long. Low of the day was 31.60. So 50 cents, 32.1 long. I'm not ready to stab into it yet. I'm still looking at it. And we're not going to be able to cover the low of the day. And you're like, why are you not taking it here? I'm being patient. That's what I'm doing. Okay. All right, we're going to take it at 32.10. If it goes north of 32.10, it'll be long, and it's going to be a 30-cent stop. 32.10, take it long. And 30-cent stop to the downside is 30, Tuesday morning math, 31.80 is here's where we are. It's kind of a close stop, but we're looking for this dollar move to the upside. 32.10, so 32.40 is our first R. 32.70 is our second R. And then 33 is our exit point. So that's where we are in this trade. We get an arrow in for you. So this is blatantly obvious to what we're doing. You could still take it here. Again, this is our entry point, a little check mark for the entry point. And the thesis here is that it holds that 31.80 mark. So not looking good right now. We're keeping an eye on that. Get ready on the trigger. If it hits 31.80, we're out. And yep, 31.80, we're out. So busted trade this morning on SpaceX. Not the best start for a Tuesday morning. We'll leave that there to see if it continues on. So a less aggressive would have been a 50-cent stop from this 32.1 entry to cover the low of the day, which it did hold the low of the day. So I may, if this ends up screaming higher. So the difference math-wise is by taking a 30-cent stop, I'm out at 33. Okay, if it works. Obviously it didn't work, so got that. But if you go with a 50-cent stop and actually cover the low of the day, which is not looking good there either, but we'll see. If you cover the low of the day, well, then you have to go up to $1.50, right? So you have your 32. So your 3R is now 33.60 for your exit point. So your exit point is a heck of a lot higher if you actually use that bigger stop. So why I prefer to cover the low of the day. Sometimes I will make it lower, and again, you're out of the trade and make your 3R faster. So did not work. We'll leave that up there. Let's see what else is going on. So ETM was it jumped up to that 31.80, then it sat down here at this 36.60. There's your low of the day again. So it's new lows of the day. So busted out of space. Okay. So this one though, it did jump up to 30.80. I remember seeing that print, and then it went back down to right around in here. Man, if you take it there, you would have gotten paid. So it would have been a 33.66 with a 6-cent stop or so. And then it jumps 30 cents from there. It's like a 5-hour trade if you caught it. So we didn't pick it, so we don't get it. All right. BLDP is up and back down, so not much there. And then Scripps, I said I didn't like it because of how high it went. Let's see how it opened. Remember, it went up to 17.50 and then came all the way back down, and it really hasn't moved here at the open. So was right on that. Let's switch to some of our shorts. I'm leaving space up there to see if it comes back or not. Let's see. Look at our shorts. NOV was my favorite short, but the market was up a little too strong for that. So you had some short covering, and then if you took it here, yeah, you still don't have much of a trade in there. To get it, LITE again is in an acquisition. They bought somebody here. I can't turn on my flashlight. See who they bought. They bought somebody, and that everybody thinks, market thinks they overpaid. Merger news. Can't read my own writing on who they bought, but market doesn't like it. So that's why that's selling off pretty hard. And then the last one, again on the short side that we looked at, was Brookhaven. BHVN. They have an Alzheimer's drug that everybody's excited about, and it whiffed. Means did not work, or disappointed, if you will. So if you were to short, this is kind of a nice entry. So I'm not taking this trade, but if you were to short, you could take it at the 77.20 point. Actually, it's got to drop to here. You could take it at 77.10 if it comes down that far. And then you have to cover all the way to $1. So there you would take it short. And again, it would be 76.10 would be your 1R. 75.10 your 2R, and 74.10 your 3R, putting it kind of back to where it was. And again, this would be short. Get the arrow in there. And the reason why I like this trade, again, I didn't take it, but I want to talk to it because it's instructive, is you have pretty negative news, and then you had a nice big drop, and then you had this short covering in here. And then you keep seeing these dojis. We talk about the doji. So it looks like there's a buyer selling at 78, right? Because it goes up to 78 and then triggers down. And then it goes next minute up to 78, triggers down. Each time it's trying to hit 78. So if there's a major seller here at 78, you're safe from going to your negative stop. So now eventually this buyer can't last, or the seller can't last forever, right? But it's good to have that barrier there. So you set your stop above that, you come back down, you pick an entry point, and then you go from there. So we'll revisit that here in a little bit. And of course there it touched 78 and see if that holds. But again, that's generally an institutional seller right there, has several thousand shares that they're selling. So every time it hits it, it bounces back. So, all right, let's take a look at what's going on in the big market, if you will. Hey, Luckin Coffee up 5%. I like that. Palantir up almost 5%. I like that. Got Clickstream up a little bit. AV has been on fire. That is a drone maker, AeroVironment. Neo, there's your Chinese automaker. K-Web, we're big into. That's Chinese technology. MongoDB. Tencent Holdings, haven't talked about them in a while. Gilead, another name we haven't talked about. There's Bitcoin, the Greystone Bitcoin Trust Company. BNTX, there's your maker of the vaccine of the joint Pfizer Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer and BioNTech. All right, so a lot of names are up big. Let's look on the downside. Revive Therapeutics on the downside. These other names are some psychedelic names too. Moderna, MedMen, marijuana name that is. So not too many names in the red. Marijuana's off a little bit. DraftKings down a little bit. So not too much. There's a FIXD again. That's the if the market's up, FIXD is going to be down a penny or two. And opposite when the market sells off. All right. So overall, we've got Clickstream jumping up there. Take a back look. Nope, this wouldn't have worked either. It busted above that, exhausted that seller there at 78 and then went higher. So no bueno on trading this morning. Regroup, get back at it tomorrow. All right, Investopedia, we're going to switch back over to Google Chrome. Let me get Investopedia, and we're going to talk about IRA limits, IRA maximums, maximum contributions, I should say. And we'll talk some 401k stuff in here as well. So contribution limits, again, there were no changes, excuse me, from 2020 to 2021. Make sure, yep, we'll come back on video here. All right, so 6,000 is your number. Unless you're over 50, then your number goes to 7,000. So when you think of ways to do it, you can go in and contribute. You know, if you have it, you want to go in on the first week of January and you want to top off your contributions for the current year. And then you're done with it. Another way is 6,000 is a nice even number. If you want to set up a monthly, like you do into your 401k, then you can just go 500 a month. If you are 50 or older, then against 583.33 is how the math works out. You can do it monthly. So what are the advantages there? Well, people say, well, if you do it monthly, you're dollar cost averaging. Well, if you do it annually, you're also dollar cost averaging, just on a different time frame. So I don't really buy that. It's more of a cash flow thing. If you have it sitting in the bank, put it in your IRA. If you don't have it in the bank, eke it out monthly. You can always stop monthly contributions if you get in the square corner. You know, life does happen. So, you know, you have the option to turn off the spigot, if you will. But you know, it's kind of easier cash flow wise for me just to stroke the checks at the beginning of the year and be done with it. So that's what I'm doing with clients now. I know there's somebody in the room. I'm sure I need to get paperwork today. I know I'm getting to it. I will get you all hooked up. When you look at the 401k, then, excuse me, 19.5 is the normal number. You can go up to 26,000 if you're 50 or older. Now, that's a decent chunk of change. If you're a six-figure type person, that's 26% of your income. If you make more than that, then it becomes a lot more achievable. So if you kind of think of the $1,500 to $2,000 a month amount, excuse me, then that's really what you're trying to eke out of your salary to go towards your retirement. Now, all those income limits you have to worry about with IRAs. You have to, do I make too much? Can I deduct this? Can I go directly to a Roth? If I can't do direct into a Roth, can I do a backdoor Roth IRA? All of that crap goes away when you're talking 401ks. There are no income limits. So participate in these things. And if you can, I mean, you know, max them out. I mean, that's just what you do. You know, I had thrift savings program in the military, and it was just boom, max, just always max, always max, always max, right? And then I viewed it, now I'm different than everybody else, but that's why I'm in the business, is I viewed it as my number one responsibility is to max everything out. And then I will figure out how to pay all the bills and live and stuff. But how I'm very good at adjusting my quality of life, meaning I don't need to do a lot of things to be happy. I can read a book and be happy. So I didn't travel a lot when I was on active duty outside of what active duty was sending me on. I never really took a vacation because my work took me all kinds of cool places. And now, even when I go, we tend to vacation for volleyball and we do some family stuff. But I'm working during that time. So I considered, maxing things out first and then, and then figuring life out from there. Good question there from the Predator. Can someone contribute to both 401k and the IRA? The answer is yes. So again, they are apples and oranges as far as putting money away. So if you are, what's the hierarchy of the dollar is like I like to say. So the first, if you are getting a match from your employer, then your first dollars, your priority should be your 401k up to that match. And any match, a lot of them too, 100% match up to 3% and then 50% for the next 3%. It's a lot of percentages. Don't follow that. I'm just saying, if you're getting free money from your employer, take it. There, remember that. Free money, take it. Then after that, pause that, and then go back to your individual IRA and get yourself set up on that. And then once you've maxed out your IRA, then you go back to the 401k and max that out. So yes, you can contribute to both. Yes, you should contribute to both. And that's the order. If you don't get a match from your 401k, do your IRA first until it's maxed out, and then participate in your workplace plan. I have one company that I get a small 401k with. It's a Roth 401k, and I withhold 70% of my money from that particular income source. So basically they take out the taxes and the rest goes into a Roth 401k that I literally will probably never touch. So that's how I handle that. If there are higher limits within the 401k, that can get a little confusing, so I'm not going to touch it today. But yeah, you're looking at big numbers there. You can go up to 58,000 and 64,500 if a bunch of other things qualify and it happens. So that's a topic for another day. That doesn't apply to a lot of folks. Okay, if you roll investments over, that's not counted. If you're starting an IRA, like you haven't done one before, you can, until tax day, you can go back in time to the previous year. So the IRA math lets you close out the year, i.e. the calendar, get into the current year. Then you can take some time. You have 4 months basically to figure out how much money you made and do your taxes. And then right before you hit send on your taxes, you make a decision about how much you put in the prior year's IRA. Now, if you are one of those that does it every January because you're ahead of the game, if you happen to over contribute, you can leave that money in the market for an entire year, and then you have to just back it out. It's very easy to do. It seems intimidating. If you're doing it on your own, have fun with that 8 hours of figuring that out. Or if you're with me, just call me up, tell me what you've done, and I will say, okay, no biggie, let's undo it, and I'll send you the form and do the math for you. So kind of easy, if you will. So don't sweat it too much if you're pre-funding them. Okay, there's some income limits associated with the Roths. We're not going to go into income limits today. If you are a TurboTax user or H&R Block user or whatever software you're using, the software will keep you straight. Honestly, it's really good. It will ask you specifically what you've done, when you did it, and it will kind of tell you, okay, well, that, for what you've done, here's the consequences of your, you can or you can't deduct this. It'll keep you kind of straight. So it answers your questions along the way. Again, TurboTax is written for like an 8th grader. It's kind of the old USA Today, right at the 8th grade level. So actually people can understand what you're talking about. So it's pretty good overall. So that's all I've got for you today. Sorry, the trade didn't work out. Market's holding strong in the green though. And the next thing up, 4th grade level for USA Today. No, actually I did see it was 8th grade level. I'm pretty sure. If you find a 4th grade reference, then let me know. But I do remember Predator, you and I getting our 4th grade. Yeah. I do remember getting the USA Today with the Predator, 3 decades ago and going through it every morning with big gulps at or Burger King or wherever we would read those. It's kind of a good time. With that, I'm gonna let you guys go and we'll catch you back tomorrow, and keep our fingers crossed for a safe and peaceful inauguration. Bye.